Well, I want to welcome and thank everyone for joining us today for another session of the Encompass Ask the Executive Series, Managing Through Crisis. My name is Chip Pickering. I'm the CEO of Encompass. And today I'll be speaking with Sean Sullivan, Vice President of Product Management and Regulatory Affairs at MetTel. MetTel is a leading provider of data, network, cloud, and mobile IT solutions for business and government agencies nationwide. MetTel is one of our member companies, and Sean serves on our Encompass Board of Directors. So I'm very glad to welcome Sean, and it's good to see you today. Before you get started, I'd love for you to just share a little bit of your background and talk a little bit about MetTel and what you're doing in the midst of the crisis.
Sure. Good afternoon, Chip. It's great to be here, and thank you for inviting me, and it's good to see you. I spent my entire career in telecom. Currently serve, as Chip said, as VP of Product and Regulatory Affairs. So we're a digital transformation and communications leader. As Chip said, we provide services across the United States. We also have a good sized base of customers in Canada as well. And we provide total solutions. So that's everything soup to nuts. So we do broadband, we do voice, we do data, we do cloud, we do mobility. Our customers are business and governments. We're an EIS Award winner, which is great. So we obviously have a very big government contract, which is terrific. We also are a Gartner recognized SD-WAN and mobility provider, and we provide service to about a half a dozen of the Dow 30 companies. So very excited, and it's a growing company, and I'm delighted to be there.
We were talking just before we went on air, so to speak, about how this is the broadband moment and the digital moment of transformation, I think, for the country, and that what was before the crisis will be forever changed and altered as we go forward, the way that we live, work, travel, commute, learn, and healthcare. And so I'd love to, you've been in the epicenter of the COVID crisis in New York. How have you enjoyed working from home? And that's kind of your command and control center. What is the best room in the house, or what have you learned as the best way to keep working in the midst of this from your home office?
Yeah, great question, Chip. So I think I probably have the best room in the house. I'm in the basement, and it's pretty quiet, which is good. So my wife and I are here. Our younger daughter is with us. She's been here with us since the 13th of March. So she's upstairs working hard on her laptop and taking conference calls. We have two dogs. Fortunately, they've been pretty good, unless someone rings the doorbell, which is a lot more often now than before with all the deliveries. But working home has been okay. I'm lucky I have high-speed internet here, which has been great. And a lot of the tools that we sell our customers, mobility offerings, and cloud-based services, I'm using with me right now. So far, I'm still able to maintain a high level of productivity. The only thing I probably miss, I would say, is just being in the office, the energy, the collaboration, the camaraderie. We'll get that back slowly, eventually. But right now, nothing to complain about, Chip. Thank you.
But talk to everyone a little bit about your core offerings and how you're interacting with your customers, your clients right now in the midst of the crisis. What are
no, absolutely. So, yep. So we're a large B2B carrier and communication solution provider. We've been providing smartphones and tablets at a very high rate to many of our customers in rapid time. Thanks in part to two things. First, we had a very good inventory. We have a warehouse stocked. We like to maintain high levels of inventory for smartphones and tablets, and we were fortunate to have that on hand to quickly give to customers. And it's also a very highly automated process, so we can get the phones turned up and shipped in record time as we have. So that's something we've been very fortunate to do. Something we just recently launched is called SDM, or Software Defined Mobility. It's like SD-WAN on the network side. It gives company administrators the ability to make sure that the services, the apps that are going to be on the smartphones and tablets of their employees are exactly the ones that are necessary for them to run their business, and nothing additive. So for example, streaming services and things like that. It's not necessary, doesn't need to go on the phone, doesn't have to gobble up data, and gives the administrators a way to help control their costs. We also provide cloud-based services too, that really enable their employees to work anywhere. Our True UC platform provides mobile calling, messaging, SMS, chat, screen share, and so forth. They work on desktop, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. And our cloud firewall with VPN gives our customers, remote employees, the opportunity to access their company files, their email, their CRMs, their data, and so forth from a secure environment. So it's just like they work in the office, but they can be working in the basement, just like me.
Any advice that you would give both other member companies of Encompass, your customers, that you've learned, or the lessons learned during this crisis? Any advice based on those lessons that you'd like to share?
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing that has been very obvious to us from the beginning is that I think it's really essential for companies to make their critical applications, I'll call it portable, so they can quickly pivot in terms of the next issue that comes, whether it's a pandemic or a natural disaster or something like that. I mean, I've been working remote here in my basement for 6 weeks, and thanks to the cloud-based applications I have and the mobility services that I have, I've been able to keep up and stay current on everything going on. And again, like my office phone rings here, has the same features and functionality and voicemail and so forth. So I think portability is the key.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to also take as a takeaway, I'm very glad that we are a member of Encompass. You know, you guys have a great pipeline into making sure that the member companies stay current on what's going on. Gives us a chance to kind of collaborate with others in the industry, what's working for them, what best practices have they had, and gives us a chance to kind of work together as an industry to keep our company connected at this time. I know many member companies of Encompass, MetTel included, took the pledge from the SEC chairman. We're proud to have done that, as we can just keep our company together and connected during this uncertain time.
Talk a little bit about the Keep America Connected pledge, what you are doing with your customers during this time. I know many of them are struggling to stay, one, open. Many of them have closed. Two, you know, if they've lost their revenue, how are they able to pay their bills? And some of the things that we're working on together in Congress for the next round of COVID legislation could directly impact how small businesses can stay open, stay connected, how our companies can continue to provide sustainable, predictable broadband and cloud and technology services during this time. And I think it's a very critical, what we've learned is the services that you provide and our other member companies provide is the essential service and the indispensable service during the COVID crisis.
Exactly. We were proud to take the pledge. I think we were one of the first people to do it. So if a customer can't pay because of the pandemic, they can't pay their voice bill or their broadband bill, we're not going to cut them off. We're going to keep them up there and running for 60 days. And I know a number of companies did it as well. I think it was the right thing to do for our customers and for our country. Curious, Chip, I know that you have had a great career, not only in the legislative side, but at Encompass as well. Where do you see the federal government? Do you think more action is going to be necessary? And if there is, what do you think companies like MetTel and other member companies of Encompass should do or press for what's needed from your perspective?
Well, we've been working in 3 or 4 different buckets of COVID legislation as it relates to broadband services, each addressing different sectors that have really seen dramatic shifts. One would be in education. So as education from K through 12, community colleges and universities all shifted online, how do our companies that serve through E-rate, which is the fund that provides the connectivity to the schools and libraries, Now that needs to go into parking lots, into hot spots. How do you provide kind of standalone one-time supplements to our companies that are finding very innovative and creative ways to help that transition for families and students to at-home online education? So we believe that somewhere between $2 and $5 billion could be appropriated in the next COVID piece of legislation that would help supplement the existing program and provide the reimbursements to our companies who are finding these critical ways to keep the students connected and online. And that doesn't matter if it's in a low-income community or in a rural community or places that just don't have the type of broadband they need at home or in their region and area. So that's one area. Telemedicine and telehealth is a second area, and many of our member companies serve in that. And so there's been a one-time major expansion to allow for telemedicine, telehealth, reimbursements, connections, major change through Medicare, that now a telemedicine or telehealth visit to your doctor or physician gets the same reimbursement as if you were to go in person. And I think that has two dramatic impacts. One is going to give another revenue stream to broadband companies to provide that connection, deploy their network, or like MetTel, give creative cloud-based solutions and the messaging and the ability for doctors to schedule and actually have the video conferencing to allow them to interact with their patients. So that's the second area. The third kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Many of the businesses that our member companies and MetTel serve, they don't have cash flow coming in, so they can't pay their bills. We're keeping the pledge that the chairman of the FCC asked. Many of our member companies like MetTel took that pledge, and whether they can pay or not, you're keeping them connected. How do we reimburse our companies as they do that? And the longer this goes, we want to make sure that all the networks are sustainable. All the networks, none of them are an island unto themselves. They're all interconnected. And if our networks can't get paid and they can't pay each other for the transport and the termination and the connections, then you could have a systemic risk or collapse of networks during the time where we really need them up and running at full speed and full force. So another element that we're doing in the COVID legislation is a reimbursement fund to our member companies that are keeping their services up and running, whether they get paid or not. And we think that that's critical for the stability of our network services and the companies that are providing them. So those are some of the areas. And then the long term, I think we have just reached a transformational tipping point, and that there's a new consensus that every American everywhere, regardless of region, rural, urban, low income to high, needs broadband connectivity. And I think that you'll see a major effort by Congress, if not in the near term, in the mid and long term, to really fund the expansion of new networks of broadband to connect every American. And I think that will be a major emphasis going forward for Congress and the FCC and the funding priority for broadband.
Terrific. Those are great. They're all worthwhile, and look forward to working with you and the Encompass team on some of those, Chip. So thank you very much.
Well, and we've also worked together a little bit on the government procurement, the reforms, the modernization, and to bring more competition into government procurement. While we're together, talk a little bit about that and how you see the opportunity for MetTel and other companies to participate in what over the next few years represents a very significant opportunity of approximately $50 billion in contract procurement opportunity to serve the federal agencies across the board.
Yeah, great question. We're very excited about that, Chip. We were delighted when MetTel was identified as one of the EIS Award winners. We're one of 9 selected. I think it's great. It's great for us, obviously, and it's great for the federal government because they get to choose from a wider base, and ultimately it's better for the taxpayers too, because with more competitors brings about more competition, brings about better pricing, and also a drive for more ingenuity and more innovation. So we're just thrilled to be part of this huge opportunity that's good for 15 years. And we have a seat at the table where big decisions are being made about how to spend the taxpayer dollars to make sure that all the telecom needs of all the different federal agencies are up to date and current and as efficient and robust as possible. So we're delighted to be one of the people with a seat at the table, and obviously bring our partners along with us. It's going to be great, and we're very excited about it. We've actually won 2 already. Back in February, we won one for the Veterans Administrations and one for the Social Security Administration, and delighted at both and look forward to doing some more.
And one, I want to congratulate for you and the company for winning those awards. To serve the VA right now under a lot of pressure to make sure that a vulnerable population and group that has served our country and that we all greatly appreciate and want to honor. So to win that contract shows a high level of trust in MetTel and y'all's capability and what y'all put together in all of the innovative offerings from SD-WAN to cloud to the other services. Talk a little bit, of what y'all provide for the VA or other government agencies that you think separates or distinguishes your products, both on price and offering, that help y'all win those awards? Sure.
Yeah. So the great thing about MetTel is we do everything for our customers. So in this case, it'd be the federal government or one of their agencies, and we do everything. So if they need someone to take over all their voice, all their inbound or outbound voice, all their data, all their broadband, all their mobility, if they want us to make it very efficient with SD-WAN and all the efficiencies that brings, we can do everything. And we package everything together. We present everything on one bill. They have access to our Bruin portal, which has won Gartner's Award for telecom expense management. It gives them one pane of glass, one to look at to see, hey, how am I spending my money and how's my usage going and how many orders do I have pending? And we wrap it all up and package it as one complete solution. We have hundreds and hundreds of partners out there that we work with. So we make sure that we bring the best partner for this particular solution for this particular issue that the agency is having. MetTel has been around since '96. No 2 solutions are the same. Every customer is different, and every solution we provide that customer is different too. And thanks to our many, many vendors and partners that we have out there, we're able to tailor make a unique solution that's perfect for that customer, whether it's a growing insurance company or someone as big as the Veterans Administration or the Social Security Administration too.
Well, we're very glad to have MetTel as a member company. Very proud that you're on our board of directors and your service and experience is brought to bear. And so I'm very thankful that in the midst of the crisis, we could have this conversation. You do offer not only your expertise and experience for the industry and the association, and as we work with the Congress, work with the FCC to get the right support to our companies. One of the things, and before we close, a lot of your employees who may be going into the offices or the buildings or the VA or to wherever it may be to provide connectivity, we want to make sure that those frontline workers also have the personal protective equipment that they need to stay safe as they keep everyone connected. And that's another thing that we've been working closely with the Department of Homeland Security and the FCC to do. But we're grateful that you're part of our team and that you're willing to partner with all of our other member companies as you compete both in government and business and enterprise markets. And we want to do everything we can to support your mission, your employees, and we're thankful that you're you're a leader for the industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chip. I mean, we're thrilled to be a member of Encompass and proud to be a board member as well. Encompass has a lot of great things for the industry and for the customers. And we're glad that we can be part of it and contribute to it in a meaningful way. So thank you very much.
Well, Sean, thank you. I tell all your family I said hello. Yes, and enjoy the walks with the dogs as you get outside, and stay safe, strong, and connected.
Yes, sir, I will. You too. Thank you so much, Chip. Stay safe and be well.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Take care.